Hey guys, FilthyRobot back with my friends playing D&D. I can't wait to record this session. We're having so much fun with this. We had a lot of great chatter across the week about how great the last one was. Unfortunately, we are still going to be running with Adam as a still portrait as opposed to a animated talking human being over there. This probably won't be this way forever. There's going to be some changes eventually in his internet situation, but at the moment, prime time on a university campus means that he gets poor connections and the video really isn't worth it. We'd sacrifice any audibility to have video that's going to be stuttering anyways. We'd rather hear him nice and clear, and I think this is the current compromise we're working on. Hopefully that won't be too much of an issue for anyone, but this will be a much better quality than the first part of last set of episodes, because we'll actually hear Adam, which is really important to the experience. Quick recap of last episode. The party was started as kind of three separate entities, two of whom had known each other, and we've kind of met now over the corpse of this ancient dragon, kind of by chance. And it turns out that we have some ideas, some goals in common, and at the moment we are moving together as a group. We have come out of this with some reasons to work together for a little bit. From this bizarrely disappearing glaive inside a dragon, we've wandered into a town, discovered that there is a missing, forgetting the word we're using right now.
Delegation.
Delegation, thank you. A missing delegation, and also some weird things happening from this geographical area. So we've gone out to investigate, different reasons for why we're investigating, but there's interesting stuff afoot, and we as a party are interesting and interested people looking for something and figuring out what's going on in this area. So quick recap of a little bit more details. But besides meeting, we have found our way blocked by a seemingly recent landslide or magical creation of rock. We're not really sure. Spent a little bit of time trying to climb that surface, but it was no good. We were smart. We didn't use our smallest man. I think the dwarf is slightly higher than the goblin, but we did have a very small man try to climb a very large mountain for an extended period of time, and that went roughly as expected. So we're gonna now, in our infinite wisdom, we've decided that this wasn't quite perfect. We're gonna try a different tact. We tried many tacts with this mountain, but now we're gonna try a different tact. So I think that's roughly where we're gonna pick up. The party is out in these hills with these strange things afoot, looking for the delegation. We have found our way blocked by the stone surface and are now going to seek an alternate route.
And a different tactic being that we're just going to leave.
Wait, Xilo, right. Don't spoil the roleplay, please. Please, Xilo. All right.
You're leaving already?
I thought we established that.
It's only just started, guys. Surely one of you needs to maybe fall first.
We've done that. Let's not forget.
Thaddeus, you look well. Are you ready to move on?
This loathsome wall can eat my dust as far as I'm concerned.
Excellent. Let's snub it now. I turn my back on the wall.
Be gone from my memory, fiend, and hurt my feelings no more.
Okay, so where are we headed? Back to, I think we wanted to make it to Belliard, right? That's where we're headed?
Okay. Oh yeah, so one thing I'll just quickly add is you should now be able to see a lot more of the overall, this large map. I've revealed bits of it a bit more so that you can see it, because what I've managed to do is I managed to get a copy that has none of the actual locations as marks. So now I've got a blank one for you to see, and I can just see the one above that.
I don't know
so you should be able to...
Are you guys seeing a lot more of it? I'm not sure I'm seeing a lot more of it.
Yeah, not too much.
See more of the hills.
Okay.
All of the hills on the left-hand side there should be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Because that was all covered up. So.
I didn't remember.
Would it generally be okay if we made notes on this map as a party?
Sure. If you can do that, if you like.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to write yet. But
there's a party notes in the journal as well. If you need to write anything extensive down, you can put it in there.
And I liked the notes were taken from a character's perspective, not just from a party perspective, which I liked. So there's some good stuff in the party notes. That was well done. All right. So should we be on our way?
Shall we assume the delegation is south of Belliard, that road south of there? So we were going to go back to Belliard and then go south. I think was the plan.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think we'd almost cut east here, but there's that stupid river valley, right? So we're like way above.
The large wall.
Yeah. Large wall south, river valley east, I think.
Right.
All right. Well, Well, we've got some couple hours of light left still. And actually, I guess I'm not 100% sure of this, but it feels like based on the distance we've traveled versus the distance between the towns, we might be able to just push on and try to make it there tonight, even if it's a little bit of traveling during the darkness.
Definitely.
Actually, looks like it's early morning still. It's not even noon. Because we got up early and only an hour or two south of here.
Oh.
So is Adam telling us that it's 11 a.m.?
Yeah, it's
yes.
the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was later than it was. Then.
It's hard to miss that little detail.
It just seemed to go on forever, that little dwarf climbing that large mountain.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful.
So basically,
really
we have
did.
all the time in the world to get to Beliar.
Night just passed by and you guys didn't even know.
That's right. We could have been up for like 36 hours or something. All right. So let's continue. Let's get back to our horses. Get back on the road. Did you collect my climbing gear?
I have everything but 2 pitons.
2 pitons down. All right.
So you're at 8.
I will adjust my piton count. Excellent.
Did you just leave those in the... Yeah, you did, right.
We're not climbing back up to get them, if that's what you're asking.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, right?
Okay. So you guys just go back up to the camp, get your horses, and head on up the north path?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Wow. So nothing happens. Great. So you guys move along with no issues. Why can't I pick up this goddamn token? There we go. So yeah, you guys move along the road up to here. We're going to say, so what? These are 4 miles across. So probably looking towards 1 to 2 p.m. as you arrive at the stone bridge. So this goes across the river to the east. So it's a gigantic stone archway which is 2 miles long and 400 feet high. It comfortably spans the widest spring flood of the river, known as the Desserin River. You would know from your experiences in Red Larch that this is a sacred site of pilgrimage for many dwarves. Long ago, the dwarf god Moradin himself appeared atop the stone bridge to rally dwarves of the Ironstar clan against hordes of orcs. Since then, it's been known to connect the parts of the dwarf realm on the western and eastern banks of Desserin, and it's made of smooth, fused, hard granite. It is only 6 paces wide, and it lacks any sort of railings or barriers, so anyone on top of it is at the mercy of the wind, particularly in winter, which for you guys is fine because we're in spring, summer.
So it's 400 feet above the river, then? That's the 400?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
So has
you
Thaddeus
guys
been here before?
Sorry, pardon.
Well, if it's like a dwarf pilgrimage place, has Thaddeus been here before?
Absolutely.
This is, his deity that he represents and worships literally appeared on this bridge.
So it's a really impressive structure. So I guess when I walk around the bend and see it for the first time, I'll breathe by Moradin's tiny balls. That's incredible.
What a fucking safety hazard. Jesus.
I'm so glad you picked up on that, Stephen.
Wow, these dwarven stones. I mean, your people are capable of amazing tasks. I don't understand why no railings.
Because we believe that anyone who can't survive crossing a bridge doesn't deserve to survive.
But what about wind or other random acts of nature or chance?
Chance.
It's only a problem for you tall folks.
Guess it's a matter of small government, eh?
I find it hard to believe you would mock one of my holiest memories.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this an important place? I didn't know.
Yeah, holy. I guess wholly lacking in safety.
It's part. It's fuck. Sure, it's not safe, but it's fun. Think of the fun you can have. Run across, enjoy yourself.
All right, so is the real bridge like down the river a little way? We just go down there to the safe one?
No.
Can you see the delegation in the river, maybe?
Roll perception if you want.
Oh, I would 100% look, because that seems really reasonable to me.
Oh, funny stuff.
Anyone else want to see if they can see the delegation in the river? Which end of the river do you? Do you look north or south?
I'll take the north.
Okay.
I'll look south.
Okay.
River flows south through here, right? Do we know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, then I'll look south. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
almost.
I'll,
yeah, you guys see.
I'll look
river.
south.
Really nice wind-bending river. And in fact, because of the position you're in and how high you're up, I can just reveal a little bit more so you can get a bit of an idea of how far it goes.
Oh. Okay.
In fact, you might even see this bit here because you're so high.
Where the
But no sign of the delegation or anything like that.
All right. Do we remember what the delegation is actually traveling like? Is it foot or wagon or horse? Do we know?
We've kind of gone off half-cocked here.
Say what?
I don't think we had it clarified.
No, I don't remember even hearing whether we're looking for horse tracks or wagon tracks or anything.
It was very simply described as a large caravan traveling from Mirabar to Waterdeep. So you can expect that that's going to have it. Oh, in fact, no, there is a list here. So, many wagons carrying supplies, gold, various items, a host of guards, some of which might be mounted, several craftsmen, artisans, and workers, and there's a couple of important NPCs.
Okay.
So really substantial, and it's not like two drunk guys that got lost and wandered off the road or something.
That will be later in this episode.
Upwards of 40 people, I would say. It's about 40 to 50, maybe.
Wait a second.
That's a lot to get lost.
If these guys were like ambushed by something, there's like 40 of them.
Well, bear in mind, only half of those are probably combat oriented.
Right.
So that's even worse, right?
Sniven. Have I ever let you
Only
down?
like half of us are combat oriented.
All right. So, but no one has described this to us. They've not described like 24 like guards of like level 2 or something. You know what I mean? We don't know this shit. It's just
you just know it's a large caravan, and you can assume that it would be a large group.
So stop.
And we're just gonna assume that most of them are civilians.
Stop metagaming. We're just gonna.
I'm not metagaming.
We don't know. We would in our infinite wisdom go looking for this. We don't have to fight whatever killed them. We just want to know what the hell happened, right?
No, we just have to. Yes, we do have to fight whatever killed them.
Thaddeus, I'm working on Sniven here, one step at a time. First,
right.
First, we get him to come along. Then, once we're there and he's already committed, then we could talk to him about fighting the rest of these things.
How about all that gold? Woo! Let's go, Sniven.
Goddamn right.
All right, perfect. So, are we actually walking across this bridge? I'll be like, Thaddeus, you've been here before. Do you care to lead the way?
Absolutely. I'll escort each and every one of you. This is the safest bridge you've ever been on.
I'm going to pay particular attention to if he does anything, because I'm not 100% sure I trust him yet, and I want to know if he's doing something sneaky that dwarves might know about this bridge that works for them and not for anybody else.
Okay.
Can I check whether or not I see him watching super close? Would that be insider perception to know that?
Insight. I would say insight to know his intentions. Like, you can easily glance across and tell that Chakolth is looking at you. And,
I'm not trying to hide it
that
either.
Role,
so, yeah.
You know that he's just doing what he normally does. He's giving you that look.
Okay. And with that insight roll, can I tell that he's looking for any special tricks of passage or something?
He's more watching you than the bridge itself. He's trying to see if you see anything of that nature and is being almost like walking the way you do maybe, or taking the steps you are, or being observant around that and wondering maybe why, if you're walking that way, or are you walking in a particular pattern or anything like that.
Excellent. I'm going to intentionally throw in a few weird steps and a hop skip in the middle and just add a little bit of random extra fiddling around.
And I'm so focused on Thaddeus that I don't even notice that he's noticed that I'm watching him. So I'm just duplicating exactly what he does.
Lovely.
So Tim and Sniven, you see this strange little dwarf almost hop skipping and dancing along this very, very long bridge. By the way, the wind is belting across, even though it's summer. And it's interesting how he can maintain his grace as he does this. And you see Chakolth behind him, almost mimicking this, almost crouching down in a dwarven style to make sure he's smaller. Maybe
little
it's to do with his height.
Little tiny dwarven footsteps as opposed to my normal, like, regular person size.
While you two are just like regularly walking along what is to you a normal bridge.
Is he always like this?
No, not usually. I think he might be a little stupid today.
Oh. What was he yesterday?
A little better?
Come, friends. Let's on to Beliard.
I stopped mimicking him once we're across the bridge. But safely across the bridge. Not like just a couple feet, off the stonework.
Do we have to, like, roll to not fall to our deaths?
No, it's
You said it
wide enough. It's like if you take a pair or a single file, you'd be okay. There's not really space for you to all ride abreast, and you wouldn't because it's not safe. So unless you're doing something intentionally stupid like that, you're fine.
Did you say 6 paces wide?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think what did I say? Was it 6
paces?
So this is 15, 18 feet wide.
Yeah,
it's only six paces wide and lacks railings.
How do you get a pace that's 3 foot?
No, ignore that. That was wrong. It's just 6 paces. But I mean, it doesn't say whether that's dwarf paces.
Yeah, right. I imagine 6 dwarf paces of about like half an inch each.
Right.
No, it's more like 6 real. Like I guess I feel like that's almost terminology. It's like 6 paces, 6 foot sounds the same to me.
I mean, it's a glorious like dwarven stone bridge. It's gonna be big enough to have wagons come across, right?
Of course, yeah.
Although it sounds like it might be a little tight for wagons.
It sounds like you'd have to be a real mouth breather to fall off of this.
I'm not taking any chances. I'm right behind the dancing dwarf over here.
So are you just slowly bringing the horse along behind you as you're mimicking his steps?
Oh yeah, we'll walk our horses across.
Okay, so you guys get to the other side of the stone bridge.
You can tell we've been burned by heights recently.
Right.
Riding towards Beliard.
Right. I'll ride up beside Chakolth and admit that was a little bit cruel and apologize. I'll say I'm sorry for that embarrassment. I
didn't think your bridge was an embarrassment, Thaddeus.
I'm glad we had this chat. On we go. Nice. That was lovely. That was well played.
All right, across we go.
Okay.
So we wander into Beliard.
Yes. All right. Sorry, I was just reading. Right.
Funny.
Beliards. Orchards and large cattle ranches surround this little town of Beliard. Large stockyards lie on the east side of town, and stone warehouses along the Desserin Road indicate the regular caravan traffic that passes through here. How do you guys want to what are you looking to do as you arrive into town?
I think as we've been walking our way across the hills and across this bridge, and just as we've been traveling, I think we'd had that discussion. And I think what we'd concluded was that perhaps a few of us, maybe the less socially awkward people, would go have a look around and see if we could find any official who might have some information about what was supposed to have transpired versus what did transpire.
Ask about the delegation.
All right. Who wants to do the investigating?
Sure. Of course. Sniven loves investigating. Just absolutely loves it.
Perfect, Sniven. Perfect.
I'd like to go along and just make sure they stay safe, since they are strangers in the area, and if there's some dwarven heritage through here, then maybe I would have the ability to intervene if I needed to.
I'm also going to follow along.
Okay.
So
I'll keep an eye on them then. I guess we're all going.
Okay, so were we planning on investigating for a while and then staying the night here, or were we planning on investigating for a while and then continuing south?
I guess it depends on the time.
I'd like to keep going if we can. If this is a tiny little cattle town, we probably should have invested more in Red Larch. I don't see us investing more here, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So it depends on how long talking to people lasts. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
What time is it? 2 p.m.
2 p.m. apparently.
Okay.
Okay. So did we see any guards of any kind
in the town?
Yes, as we were walking into town. Like, did you see any sort of security whatsoever?
Maybe like your very, very basic militia. You might see maybe one or two.
Okay. So then, as we were walking by one of them, it would be something like, "Oh, hello there."
Hello, little goblin. How might I be of service?
Oh, how are you? Well, we are looking for some people, and we were hoping to talk to whoever's in charge around here.
And who is it you're after, sir?
Well, we heard there was a missing delegation, and so we were looking to help them out, maybe find out what happened to them. But we heard they were passing through the area, and we were hoping that if they were to have passed through here, that anyone that they might have talked to, we could talk to, such as a constable, maybe a mayor type thing, anything like that.
Okay. Absolutely. I would definitely recommend you go to our inn, the Watchful Knight. Nesha there should be able to provide you lots of information. The town is abuzz with this, as you know. We are worried, and we don't know where they are ourselves. So any adventurers like you that are willing to investigate, I'm sure everybody here will be willing to help and give you as much information as possible.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, good sir. We'll be on our way.
Tim, I think we should, for research purposes, compare the ale in this inn compared to the ale of the last inn.
Definitely.
Indeed.
All right, we'll head in.
I always do.
So Nesha in the inn. So on to the inn.
The Watchful
Yeah,
Knight.
that's Nesha.
Okay.
All right. You make your way up to the inn, and you head inside. It's smaller than the one at Red Larch, but it definitely feels more homely. This seems to be a slightly simpler town, but it's definitely got all the different capabilities you might need, such as ale and food, and places to rest and places to stable the horses. You see a couple of people serving around. The place seems busy, but not like excited. It seems to be busy. You can hear people with concerned voices talking, and you can definitely hear words about Mirabar and the delegation, and people just seem generally anxious about what's going on.
Do we know what Mirabar is? Is that where they were headed after Baliard?
They were from Mirabar, and as
I
I think about it, I don't know anything about Mirabar or where it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's on our map.
I assume it's farther north.
You want to roll history?
Sure.
Whoever wants to know.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
So Tim obviously knows nothing. That's why he's asking about this.
Let's put an int character in the party. That'll be great. We'll just use the int character to do the roll. The history.
So Thaddeus and Chakolth both know that Mirabar was a mining city of great wealth, which is located on the Sword Coast. It was the richest city north of Waterdeep until it was occupied. Sorry, it was also occupied by shield dwarves who lived underground near to their workshops, who produced metal goods for export in the region and beyond. The humans above cooperated with the dwarves to handle the mining, move the auto market, and defend the city against magical threats.
Okay. So it's a successful mining town with some human-dwarf racial harmony up north.
Yeah, they do a lot of trade with stone and metals taken out of the mines, and they're going to be expertly cut. The stone is transported magically sometimes at high costs. There are some buildings in Arm, Baldur's Gate, and Waterdeep that are famous because they've used Mirabar stone, because that's very high quality product.
So is there any chance that this delegation had a bunch of, like, magical ore or something with it?
Who are you asking?
I'm just, I suppose, thinking out loud.
You're speculating out loud, yeah.
Yeah.
That's for you to think of, yeah. That's for you to
you
think
know,
of, I guess.
That sounds to me like as a dwarf, I would be super excited about finding this delegation because it likely has dwarven
Importance.
importance. Yeah,
Because it's meaningful to them. Yeah, sure. So
Okay.
I guess the first time you heard that it was from Mirabar, that would sort of incite you to want to go and find them because it reminds you about your dwarven heritage and stuff. So.
Okay, so when we enter the inn, we're looking for Nesha?
Neshor.
Yes, Nesha. Do we see who do we see when we walk in the inn?
So you see the person who was described to you as Nesha. You can definitely tell that that's them. Stood behind the bar, talking closely with a server, and they look to be in conversation quite quietly together behind the bar.
Well, hello, everyone.
They sort of stop their conversation, look up, and sort of say, "Oh, hello.
Look up.
How can we help
Hi.
you?"
You look like someone described to me as Nessa, are you not?
That is right, Master Goblin. May I ask your name?
Oh, I'm Sniven. It's good to meet you.
Well, welcome to Belliard. I know that we don't appear as warm and homely as we should to our guests at the moment because of the whole incident with the delegation. If you haven't heard, some people have gone missing, and we're all a bit worried about what could be happening.
Oh, yes, we're actually worried about that also. That's why I came here to talk to you. Can you tell us anything you know about it?
Okay, so you want to roll me investigation?
Oh, man. Does it have to be investigation?
Mm-hmm. What else would you think that you'd use? Like, what
well,
if you can give me a reason that you can use another skill, then...
Because I'm trying to persuade her into giving me any sort of information.
Sure. Okay, yeah, we can go with that. That works.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'd like to continue to use insight to look for any. Holy crap, that's beautiful. To look for any fudging of the information or anything that's being left out or anything like that.
And I would like to keep my eye on the people around us. I'm looking for anyone paying attention to us unduly or otherwise looking hostile, looking for angry faces.
I would like to use perception to order a beer.
Okay, so the three of you
succeed?
The three of you walked in. Sniven walked up to the bar to start asking these questions. Thaddeus stands beside him to sort of analyze, and you see Chakolth sort of looking around. Tim is struggling to see where the bar is right now. He's kind of looking around. And he's kind of lost sight of you in the crowd that isn't there. So he just give him his bearings, and he'll be a moment. So Sniven finds out from Nesha that he'd spoken with the delegation leaders before they left, and learned that they had planned to head south on the Desserin Road. They intended to visit a location known as the Summit Hall, returning the body of a knight who was slain in the north. The server that is also stood with Nesha, known as Senya, I'll just type that for you, perks up at the conversation regarding the delegation and explains that she noticed there was a strange monk who was wearing a golden mask, observing the Mirror Barons closely while they stayed at their inn. The monk had left a few hours before the delegation set out and hasn't been seen since.
Oh, interesting. So this monk was not part of the delegation and was spying on them while they were here, is what you're saying?
Oh, well, I wouldn't be one to say that, sir, but he definitely looked shifty. I've never seen him around here before, and who wears a mask inside? It's only for when we have special balls or parties.
Interesting. How long was the monk here before you noticed that he was here?
I guess he was there all the time that they were, from what I saw.
So he wasn't with them and showed up when
not.
they did.
Indeed. For you, Thaddeus, everything seems absolutely truthful. These people have no reason to lie to you from what you can tell, and they're really, really willing to give you the information. Sorry, Filthy, what you said?
Yeah, no problem. I just speak up over Sniven's shoulder, and I ask, could you describe this mask a little bit more?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Golden mask. That sounds very...
Yeah, but I want to know what it. If we notice any of the symbols or facial stuff in it, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
6
seconds.
Okay.
Can I blunder over with a round of beers now?
You can find the bar now.
Yet, or I can.
Yeah.
I'd like. Can I order a round of beer?
Like, that's where the alcohol is.
Oh, they're already at the bar.
Yeah, we're talking.
Do you want to order?
All right. Well, I'll order a round of beers for us.
We found the bar, Tim.
Oh, good day. Yeah, I've just been looking for it. I'm gonna fetch you guys a round of ales.
That's right.
You're at the bar.
Oh, Snivens.
That's why we're here, buddy. We're here for you.
Okay, so what do you order, Steve?
Just a round of ale.
No, but I break into Tim just for a second and say, Tim, I know we're questioning a server, but we're actually asking her about some other things first. You can maybe get the beer after.
Well, I find that people are most truthful when they're serving you alcohol.
I have no response to that.
Okay, so she describes the mask as covering his entire face, and she struggled to see his eyes. And she could tell that he was watching the delegation simply by the direction he was looking from his head, but couldn't see exactly who he was looking and where he was looking because his whole face was covered.
What was the mask of?
Gold.
No, I understand the material, but what was?
Right.
What was it shaped like? What did it look like? Like, was there any way that
human mask, animal mask, flat, like
I see.
Markings? Does it look like a divinity or some sort of religious cult, or?
No, it's like it's just totally smooth, as if it was like
okay.
It's just like a smooth surface, and it had like slits for eyes.
Have I ever encountered any in my travels, perhaps, or heard of anything, any group or organization that wears golden, like golden masks that remove all facial features from them and just look like plain, surfaceless stuff?
Maybe a performer's mask, maybe a religious mask.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, you think you may have seen these used in some, you get blurs of memory of maybe in a religious ceremony or, like Xylo said, maybe some performers you may have seen in the street. And you can definitely understand the maliciousness of trying to hide someone's face. So you could appreciate that you've seen people wearing masks, and that could be a reason why.
Pretty brazen, though. Like, I mean, a golden mask is going to draw attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, all right.
It's like an oxymoron. It's like, I'm trying to be discreet with the most undiscreet thing possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Simon, do you have any other questions for Senya?
I have a few.
Go right ahead.
As far as you know, they did not make it to Summit Hall?
Yes, as far as we are aware, the delegation has never made it.
And how far is it from here to Summit Hall?
Okay, 2 seconds.
Would Thaddeus know where Summit Hall is?
So it's about 20 miles south, if you follow the path through the hills. It's a similar trail to one that you came on, so the way it cuts through the Summer Hills. In fact, you guys are carrying a map, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so she will mark for you the trail.
Cool.
And the location of the hall.
That's actually a reasonable question. Is it part of my dwarven heritage and knowledge? Is this in some way something that I would be familiar with in the same way as the bridge?
If you want to roll history for this one?
Sounds like a horrible idea. I'd love to.
Or religion would also work.
Both are equally awful. So
if you roll bad, then you've never visited it. If you roll well, then you have visited.
How about nothing at all?
In fact, you're not even aware that people could live in towns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you've
never heard of it.
Place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hurt myself never knowing about it.
You tried thinking about it, yeah, and you just...
Yeah, right. You started going off to me like, oh, such and such a place. She's like, no, and she corrects you with the name, and you've got it completely wrong. You've heard it wrong the first time.
Right.
No.
It's okay, Thaddeus. Just have some ale. You'll feel better later.
So, can you tell me about this knight, then? Who was he, and why is he being transported for days and days.
And how long ago did the caravan leave, and when were they expected back? That everyone's aware that they're missing.
We have no idea who the knight is, sir. That we aren't privy to knowledge that the Mirabarans have. They left here. 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. So much information. Right. Yeah, so it says about a week ago.
Oh, wow.
From Beliard. And it's not that they were expected back, it's that people that have come from the place that they were expected have confirmed that they're not there. And they've come to Beliard to check where they were, and they didn't, they didn't find them on the way to Beliard, and they haven't found them on the trail or at Beliard.
Okay, so we know they left Beliard a week ago, and they've never made it to this town. It's the name I've already forgotten where the knight is. So we know that they've disappeared either somewhere along this trail or have somehow gotten lost off of this trail. Okay. Cool.
Right, and yet there is no trace of them along the trail that a normal person coming up the trail noticed.
Right.
Despite having some concern and maybe even having the skill to look at the ground. So however they disappeared was...
not obvious.
I'll ask Senya, have any other... So besides just people being alarmed, have you heard of any other groups seeking the delegation? Or any other interested individuals not from this area?
A messenger has been sent back to Mirabar to request aid, and that is all I know.
Okay. Thank you, Senya.
Are the Samba Hills dangerous?
Oh, absolutely. There are countless strange monstrosities that live in those hills, and folk tales from all around about strange weather and things about lightning from the sky or hot winds, and you know what people are like. They exaggerate a lot of things, but having never explored them myself, I can't tell you for true, but they definitely seem to be dangerous places from what everyone says about them.
Huh. They seemed quite nice.
Well, based on what everyone says about them, would there happen to be any creatures that might be able to, carry a wagon so that for some reason the wagons would just disappear?
Yeah, she can't think of anything that might relate to that.
And regarding
perhaps,
the map...
I guess the only thing that she can hint towards is... Sorry, Kevin. Maybe things like barbarians or orcs are known to be in parts of these lands far, far away, and if they've come all the way to the hills, maybe, but, that's like a stretch of her imagination kind of thing.
I thank her for a second and lean into my companions for a moment and say, perhaps we've tapped all the information a server at the bar may have about this. I doubt she'll know the specifics of their route or the dangers they might have faced. Perhaps we need to actually do some investigative work of ourselves.
I do have one more question.
Go ahead.
Regarding the map, as I look at Summit Hall, does the trail continue down and connect at Wamford like I would guess?
Yeah. So you're asking her that?
Yes.
Okay, so
whether or not if you continued south through
she will just draw you the route based on what you're asking. Oh, come on. There we go. So if you can see here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is... Thank you. That is a huge help. I would hate to also get lost while looking for the delegation. That would be a shame.
Okay.
All right. Well, I say we, after we have this conversation, we're probably headed back, sat at a table, or found somewhere to stand and talk about the information we've just, uncovered from this, and finish our beers, and then, I'll ask everybody, is there any reason to stay? Any other things that you want to discover while we're here, ask about? It seems fairly straightforward what they know, but perhaps not so straightforward what has happened. I feel like we need to be out there looking as opposed to here.
I don't think there's any reason to stay, but I feel like we're missing some kind of lead. If there's been people traveling on the road that say there's no signs of them, then I'm not sure if we'll have any better luck.
I have faith in our tracker friend. I'm sure that the civilians who came through didn't have the skill that he does.
Sniven looks to Tim.
And I look back to Thaddeus and
full
say...
Full of confidence.
He didn't have trouble tracking the bar.
Tim's like halfway into a beer and he's like talking to two women. Like he's sitting at the table with you, but he's turned away talking to two women while halfway into a beer.
I completely and utterly share your confidence in Tim, Thaddeus.
Look, he's caught the scent now.
All right then.
I love it.
I'm going to ask just one more quick question. Is there a local shrine or temple
in Beliard? Let's see. Hang on.
We're looking for a replacement for the guy in Red Larch.
You guys could tell when you arrived there was a public well, a pond, a tanner, a smith, some horse dealers perhaps, but nothing religious like that.
Okay.
All right. I was going to go pay my respects on the way through, but I can skip that.
You need to get like a holy symbol that you could just do that on your own.
Well, I've got a holy symbol, but I don't have a. It's still nice to.
How is he going to sing in a choir without the rest of the choir members there?
I was just going to throw a couple silver to the local folk. We can move on. That's all right.
Okay, we should carry on south then.
Absolutely.
All right. So what time did you guys arrive? Did I say 2 p.m.? So we'll say you spent, I don't know, an hour doing that.
Starting the number of questions, let's say 2.
2? All right, sure.
Call it 4 p.m.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Just
Well,
2 seconds.
I nudged Tim in the side and say, Tim, you better either finish this up quick or we got to get going here.
Oh, I think I'm set to go. Thanks. You notice that the two women have turned away and are like giggling about me, possibly making fun of me.
Cool. Well, looks like we're going to need your expertise, Tim. The delegation has disappeared on this road, and no one needs to know where. So.
Well, off we go then. I've always wanted to track a human.
I think I'm uncomfortable with that.
So much faith in the wizard tracker.
With 0 fucking wisdom. Why is he our tracker? Anyways. All
right. Wait a minute. Is that actually my job?
Yes. Yes, yeah. It is.
Hold on a moment.
I think that it's my job.
And the penny drops.
I thought you were playing a slow game with a joke here. No, just waiting for the punchline for like 2 episodes.
Yes, we all were. We were all waiting for that moment right there.
All right.
I'm just going to gather the necessary tracking information and secretly feed it to Tim so that he feels better about himself. Hey Tim, what do you think these footprints mean? Yeah.
All right.
Oh, what are footprints?
Right.
Okay,
so
I think
we mount up.
Yep, we mount up, get our horses back out of the stables, pay any bar fees that Tim pays any bar fees that we owe, and then we'll move south.
Okay. You get about where are we?
And I'll actually start using my skills since I have it.
Perfect. So you guys get about 2 to 4 miles out of town. It's starting to get strangely warm. The ride across the stone bridge was obviously very, very cold with the wind, and as you came into Belliard, it was quite chilly. But it had like that summer tone to it with the sun as well. But as you're getting into the hills, you're getting a strange, it's almost like a warm wind rather now than a cold one, which is a bit surprising. It's not kind of ordinary to you. Do you want to roll? So I guess, is Thaddeus now leading the group?
Yep.
Forward? Right, okay. So Thaddeus, if you can give us survival.
I think he's giving the impression to Tim that Tim is.
Yeah. I'd sort of like to take one side of the path, and he can take the other.
There you go.
Okay. So then you two roll survival.
Yep.
Right. So the group comes to a halt in as Tim and Thaddeus begin squabbling over which direction to go.
Your rolls.
No, see, it's turning there into the wall.
Tim seems to believe it's this way, and Thaddeus knows it's this way because he has the map. But Tim is very certain it's that way.
I take the moment as they're shouting at each other to kind of take off my cloak and otherwise make adjustments for this warmer weather, kind of roll up shirt sleeves and stuff like that.
So which direction is the warm wind coming? Into our face from the south, or?
It's kind of humid, so you get breezes maybe from the east, breezes from the west, but it kind of just sits on you like this heavy, hot humidity.
That's so ominous. It's awesome.
What's that?
That's so ominous. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's wonderful.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't interfere. Do they resolve this in some way, or do we stop here permanently?
Well, Tim says that, and then what do you say, Thaddeus?
Oh. While I respect your input in this matter, I'm convinced that the actual wagon tracks there don't go over that ravine. They appear to continue straight onward.
Is there a ravine that wagons could have went over the edge?
Well, if you kept going that far to the west, you know, Thaddeus is inferring that that's where the river is, and he knows that it's on the back.
Just hold on for 5 minutes. Let me take a quick look. Just a quick look. See if I can see anything, and then we can move on. It's okay. I see what you're saying, Thad.
Can people like insight to see if Tim is an idiot?
I'm not going to.
He's not an idiot.
Okay.
Well, it's
a few other things.
That isn't what that's going to show. So let's say you incited Tim and you got a good roll.
Insight.
You're going to be able to tell that he believes what he's saying.
Right. Okay, you're right.
And that's about
true.
it. So you could then deduce that he's an idiot. That's fine.
That would require an intelligence check for Sniven, and we know where that's going to go.
Well,
so,
and unfortunately, everyone saw the rolls, so
right.
They know which of us is right anyway, right?
yeah, but I'm sure you guys wouldn't play like that.
No. I have no dog in this fight.
No.
I'd just like to.
I'm content to let. Please go have a look and verify your concern. I'm going to have some hard cheese while I wait.
Okay, so 5 minutes or so pass. Tim, you get to the edge of what is a ravine going into the river. You can see down into the river, and you figure out that this is absolutely the wrong way to go.
All right. I'd like to walk back to the party looking very pleased with myself and say, all right, guys, I've checked that option off. Being very thorough here. That's a river. That's a river. Yep.
Okay. So, south then, Tim?
Which way is that?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you've been here to help us with this. I'm appreciating your guidance, and I believe that you were saying further south might help.
Look, the cardinal directions don't matter. It's about which way the monsters are. And,
right.
Sometimes you just got to trust your nose, Thad.
So is that...
Look, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Right.
I'm going
This
to eagerly lead the
direction.
party south.
Just say
Okay.
this direction and point south.
Perfect. So we'll carry on. So are we
guys-
are we going like super slow and like they're just checking the path the entire way, or are we stopping every so often, or what are we doing?
That was because this part, as you got into this hex, there was basically a fork,
Okay.
kind of. Well, not a fork, but like a path that you could have taken. And if you got lost, as Tim did, you might have gone down that a little bit and then realized you went the wrong way.
Okay.
In metagame terms, that's basically essentially what happened. Okay, so you guys move on for another, I'd say, 8 miles, and then just roll this counting. Okay. A strange croaking cry from somewhere above catches your attention. Everyone roll perception?
Wow.
Okay. All of you spot a trio of huge winged shapes gliding towards you. You can identify them as giant vultures. Each bird carries on its back a warrior that you can determine in a dull blue armor with a dirty white cloak.
Do we know what type of creature or would ride a vulture? Is this friend or foe? Do I know that just from that description?
Everyone roll initiative.
Okay, but that's where we're going to cut the part. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you shortly. Hope you're enjoying it.